In the ancient kingdom of Babylon, under the rule of King Nebuchadnezzar, lived 3 young Hebrew men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The king, in a display of his power, erected a massive golden statue and commanded everyone in his kingdom to bow down and worship it. Anyone who refused to be thrown into a blazing furnace. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, however, remained faithful to their God. They refused to bow to the idol. When the king heard of their defiance, he was filled with rage. He ordered them to be brought before him and gave them one last chance. But they stood firm, telling the king, "If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it. But even if he does not, we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image you have set up." Furious, Nebuchadnezzar commanded that the furnace be heated 7 times hotter than usual. The 3 men were bound and cast into the flames. The fire was so intense that it killed the soldiers who threw them in. But as the king watched, he was astonished. He leaped to his feet and asked his advisors, "Weren't there 3 men that we tied up and threw into the fire?" They replied, "Certainly, your majesty." He said, "Look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods." The king approached the furnace and called them out. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego emerged without a single burn, not even the smell of fire on their clothes. Amazed, King Nebuchadnezzar praised their God, declaring that no other God could save in this way, and he promoted the 3 men in the province of Babylon. Years passed and a new King Darius ruled over the land. He appointed 120 officials and 3 administrators to govern the kingdom, and one of these was Daniel. Daniel distinguished himself so greatly with his exceptional qualities that the king planned to set him over the whole kingdom. This made the other officials intensely jealous. They tried to find grounds for charges against Daniel in his conduct of government affairs, but they couldn't. He was trustworthy and neither corrupt nor negligent. Finally, they said, "We will never find any basis for charges against this Daniel unless it has something to do with the law of his God." So they devised a trap. They went to King Darius and persuaded him to issue a decree for the next 30 days. Anyone who prayed to any god or human being other than the king would be thrown into the lion's den. The king, not realizing their malicious intent, signed the decree into law. Now, Daniel knew about the new law, but it didn't change his routine. 3 times a day he went to his upstairs room, opened his windows toward Jerusalem, got down on his knees, and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had done before. His enemies spied on him, caught him in the act, and rushed to the king. When King Darius heard what had happened, he was greatly distressed. He realized he had been tricked and tried all day to rescue Daniel, but the law could not be changed. With a heavy heart he gave the order. As Daniel was brought to the lion's den, the king said to him, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." A stone was placed over the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it. The king spent a sleepless night, fasting and refusing any entertainment. At the first light of dawn he hurried to the lion's den. In an anguished voice, he called out, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions?" To his astonishment a voice replied, "It was Daniel. May the king live forever. My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me, because I was found innocent in his sight, nor have I ever done any wrong before you, your majesty." The king was overjoyed. He ordered Daniel to be lifted out of the den, and not a single wound was found on him because he had trusted in his God. Then, at the king's command, the men who had falsely accused Daniel were brought and thrown into the den, along with their families. Before they reached the floor, the lions overpowered them. After this, King Darius wrote to all the nations, declaring that everyone must fear and revere the God of Daniel, for he is the living God, who endures forever. His kingdom will not be destroyed, and his dominion will never end. He rescues and he saves. He performs signs and wonders in the heavens and on the earth. He has rescued Daniel from the power of the lions. These stories of unwavering faith remind us of the power of trust and conviction. Thank you for watching. If this story inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that explores the depths of faith and history. See you next time.